Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Raymond Skinner and I'm chairperson of the Board of Commissioners for the DC Housing Authority. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the regular monthly meeting of the District of Columbia Housing Authority being held today, May 13th, 2026. This meeting is being held via Zoom video conferencing, and some members of the board are here in person, others are from virtual. And the time is 1:04 p.m. At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to allow for personal reflections. Thank you. So today we've invited members of the public to sign up to speak via our website, or those who would just like to view the meeting can do so live via the DCHA website linked to Facebook Live. The commissioners welcome input on matters of public concern and offers the public today an opportunity to express your views during the public testimony portion of this meeting. However, we do require that members of the public who attend our meetings abide by certain rules of decorum to allow the board to complete its business. For this virtual meeting, DCHA asks that you remain muted until you are instructed to speak. Anyone who violates these rules will be removed from the virtual meeting. Serious or repeated violations of the rules may result in your being barred from speaking at future meetings. However, we do appreciate your interest in the matters before us today, and I want to thank you for abiding by these rules of conduct. So, as I had mentioned over the last couple of meetings, we are still transitioning. The board is still transitioning to comply with the new law under the Rental Act. So as a result of that law, 5 of the current commissioners who are currently on the board have actually been reappointed, and they were just confirmed by the council last week, I believe. And yesterday, some of us were sworn in by the Mayor's Office of Talent and Appointments. So going forward, there will be staggered term limits for the board. And as a result of what just happened, Commissioners Blackson and Clay were appointed to new two-year terms. Commissioners Murphy and Silla were appointed to new 3-year terms. And I was appointed to a new 1-year term. So, as I mentioned, 4 of the 5 that I just mentioned were sworn in by the Mayor's Office of Talent and Appointment, except for Commissioner Clay. But there's a second swearing in that we have to do for DCHA. And I'm going to ask our General Counsel, Amy Glassman, to perform that duty.
Sure. I'm going to ask folks to, raise your right hand and repeat after me. It's a little bit long, but I'm going to also send this out to the board members afterwards. And we will swear in Commissioner Clay afterwards, since he has unfortunately not been sworn in yet by MOTA. And then for folks who are in person, I'll have you sign this afterwards. And for folks who are online, I will send this to you afterwards to sign. So I say your name.
I, Raymond Skinner,
Teresa Silla.
Do solemnly swear
swear
that in my capacity as a member of the DCHA Board of Commissioners,
that in my capacity as a member of the DCHA Board of Commissioners,
I will faithfully execute the applicable laws of the United States of America.
I will faithfully execute the applicable laws of the United States of America
and the District of Columbia
and the District of Columbia,
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office which I am about to enter.
And will faithfully discharge the duties of the office that I am about to enter.
I swear that I meet the requirements of the District of Columbia Housing Authority Act of 1999.
I swear I meet the requirements of the DC Housing Authority $19.99.
I will,
Smaller chunk.
sorry, I will abide by the DCHA standards of conduct.
I will abide by the DCHA standards of conduct.
I understand that I am,
understand
I understand
that I am obligated to avoid real and apparent conflicts of interest.
that I
I'm
am obligated to avoid real and apparent
conflicts of interest.
conflicts of interest.
I understand I'm required to file a financial disclosure.
I understand that I'm required to
file
file a financial disclosure.
All right, I'm shortening this a little bit. You're going to sign the real one. Sorry. The chairman asked me to abbreviate this a little bit. I understand I must complete required trainings as part of my membership on the board.
I
I understand that I must complete required trainings as a part of my membership on the board.
Sorry. And I will not solicit or accept gifts or payments
I will not solicit or accept
gifts or payments
or any other item
or
any other item
of more than nominal value
of more than nominal value
from anyone seeking action from DCHA.
from anyone seeking action from DCHA.
Well, that would be your oath. And
So we're official.
you're official. You're official.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So I will give this to you to sign as well. So
Thank you.
So just regarding the board, there's also one bit of bad news, and that is Commissioner Jim Dickerson has resigned from the board. Unfortunately, he is no longer a district resident, so he had to resign. So with that said, I'll ask to see if we have a quorum, a roll call vote. We have a quorum.
Sure. Denise Blackson,
Present.
thank you. Rosa Burbridge. Commissioner Burbridge, I see you. It's *6 to unmute yourself. So I'm gonna come back. Leroy Clay.
Here.
Thank you. Chris Murphy. Chris Murphy. I didn't see him. So I will come back. Jennifer Reed,
Here.
thank you. Teresa Silla,
Yes.
thank you. I'm going to come back to Rosa Burbridge. And then I'm going to call Chris Murphy. I know he was on earlier, and so at this time, we do not have a
So
quorum.
we do not have a quorum, but hopefully Commissioners Burbridge and Murphy will get back on and we can establish a quorum. So we're not able to vote on the minutes since we don't have a quorum, but we can go to the executive director's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nicole Wycliffe, Interim Executive Director. So we are 7 months into fiscal year 26. Outside of challenging times for funding, the team has been doing a great job in keeping utilization on the federal, on the voucher side up. Our public housing occupancy rates are up. The team has been working feverishly on our IRB properties as well as judiciary and Melvo. So again, those are substantial rehab developments. We did get news from HUD last week when I was on vacation about our voucher budgets for calendar year 26. It is pretty much what they told us in December. We did not get any type of increases. So we had already been the team working along with the board, working through those challenges on the budget, since our budget was approved in September of 25 for fiscal year 26. So the team we're continuing to work on, we will be presenting some cost saving measure. We have inside already been working on many cost savings efforts throughout the agency. Again, that's strictly on voucher side. On our public housing side, we also are not getting an increase on that as well. That's generally not a published budget that comes out. They'll usually fund us throughout, several months. So right now we're funded to June, and then we'll see in July what we'll get for the remaining of the year. So not just DCHA, many housing authorities and organizations along with the city are seeing funding challenges that we all need to just work through together as a team. So on a better note, Park Morton Phase 1 received the ULI 2026 Excellence Award. So great project. If you haven't been able to go by there, definitely go see Park Morton. I would like to give a huge thank you to our former residents that attended the gala. Ms. High, Ms. Vick, and Ms. Bryant all attended the gala and were present when that award was presented to the developers for that Park Morton Phase 1.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm happy to say that the rebuilding community events are kicking off in early June. Again, we run those events until about October. So our last one is usually the big Halloween one. So the schedules, if not out, should be coming out soon. The first one is coming up on June 6th. So we're excited about that. Generally, we always have grocery giveaways there. We'll have vendors there, of course, food, music, and fun, just so everyone can fellowship amongst each other. So those are coming up soon. See, I'm trying to get all of our great things out. DCHA also hosted a Section 3 and hiring fair that was at the Envision Center. So they had over 350 participants that came through. So that's great. I saw the pictures, wonderful. Also, we cannot forget our youth. The second annual Do the Right Thing, so Write, WRITE, and the youth wrote essays, and that ceremony happened. So again, kudos to our young scholars for writing those essays and winning the awards. We're also continuing to partner with Andrews Federal Credit Union on credit building workshops, lunch and learn. So this is open, to the residents. Again, others attend in the community. So that's a great opportunity to get your credit scores up. We're also looking at home ownership opportunities. So that partnership with Andrews has been great, and then those will continue. On our voucher side of the house, the team hosted a registration for individuals to be able to sign up for Rent Cafe. That is the system for both landlords and residents to utilize. It has the capability of doing recertifications, just a lot of things online to prevent you to having to come in person or meet in person. That was at the Panorama Room. Over 800 individuals signed up, but around 250 actually attended. So that registration number for Rent Cafe continuously increases. So we're happy to see that. Let's see what else is going on. Again, on our public housing side, as I already talked about, the team is working closely to look at all of our offline units as well as vacant units. Again, we do have the IRB properties, which are the 9 sites, in addition to Judiciary and Melville that will be undergoing substantial rehab. So a lot of our vacant units, in the event that the scope is so large that we have to vacate any residents out, we'll be utilizing those units for relocation as number 1. Let's see, our city funds, we have been looking at our city funds. We keep our spend plans in here. We do have an updated one because we noticed that Commissioner Murphy had pointed that fiscal year 26 was not on there. So we'll ensure that is in all of the future board books. Again, the spending is up in our earlier years. So when this administration, well, when former Keith Pettigrew and then myself came on in 23, latter part of 23, we began to spend funds back to fiscal year 21. With the capital funds, which are on the federal side, which are not due to come out till about October and November, we're looking at all of our capital funds now because we understand the needs are so great outside of the IRB properties, just to ensure that major systems are working, electrical upgrades are happening, but just units are, decent, safe, and sanitary. So we are going to be looking at those funds, and if there's opportunities that we have to reprogram them to a property that is critical right now, then we will be submitting that. So just like to talk through that. Generally does take a little time on the city fund side, because again, if you're not familiar, the process for us is we have to solicit. Once we solicit and get the pricing, and of course, before creating the scope, we then need board approval, but then also has to go to city council approval. So it does take a little time to get the projects and actual notice to proceed on these funds. But we're working to get through a lot of the funds and to allocate the dollars where the need is now. Because on the capital side, federal capital side, we know there's not enough funds for the number of public housing units that we have. So outside of that, that's all I have. If there's any questions, happy to answer anything.
So any questions for the interim executive director, Commissioner Clay?
I have a question. The job, was it a job fair or a hiring fair at Envision Center?
Yes.
Do you all track how many people may have gotten jobs as a result of it and all of that?
I don't know if Brian is on. If we are not tracking, we definitely will start. So I can't answer. I don't think Brian's on there. So we will check with him to make sure that we are tracking some way, somehow from think of about 250 or so individuals that attended if anyone was matched.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Commissioner Reed has a question.
Thank you. Just in looking at the monthly report, it looked like there were, on the voucher side, a fair number of vacant project and sponsor-based units. Could you talk a little bit about sort of what the process is for residents to get into those units and why we're seeing the vacancies and what we're doing about it?
Yeah. So on the project base, so we have different federal and local project-based contracts, and those have been experiencing some vacancies. Some of the units are offline, meaning that the owners and landlords are rehabbing them to get them up to housing quality standards to be able to be occupied. So we can get that exact number. So the process is right now, you have to be pulled from the centralized housing choice voucher wait list. So the team went out, I don't know how many months ago, went out and sent many pulled individuals from the wait list for these specific properties. We do have a suspense list. Again, some of these are smaller size units. They may not be in wards that individuals want. So the team is actively working the suspense list. We're able to pull from the housing choice voucher centralized list to fill those units. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I guess I will get ahead of myself. We are looking at property specific wait lists for these. And by doing that, if you sign up for that, then we know you want this location. Right now, the issue is we pull individuals are going out. Either units are too small, not in the location that they want, or whatever the case may be, and they're not renting those units up.
Got it. And is that I agree with the site-based approach. Is that something that we can put into place sooner rather than later?
You read my mind. I've already been on the team. So some of them are already in the plan. I know, Amy, you want to speak to that? Because I know I've been beating you up about that. You're the team.
Well, so yeah, I mean, the administrative plan allows for, yes, I mean, our plan allows us to do that for on a, you know, following a certain procedure.
Right.
So that's the short answer.
Yeah.
And if there's an opportunity to jump in,
Mhm.
I'm assuming the homeless preference also applies to the project-based once it's adopted in the ACOP and the admin plans. And so there's an opportunity to make sure that we are bumping up the wait list against HMIS and making sure we're prioritizing or implementing the homeless preference.
We'd have to look at how that interfaces because I think it's sort of the way that the homeless preference, I think, sort of assumes a little bit of sort of the centralized wait list. And so we'd have to, that's a good
Okay.
question because if you're talking about a site-based waiting list, you're really talking about people who've applied specifically to the site as
And-
opposed to sort of, if you're talking about a bump against HMIS, that's not people who are in our,
And right now you are pulling from the central.
Exactly.
main-
Right now we are.
main
Exactly.
wait list, so you
Exactly.
could prioritize, you could do that data bump on
Exactly.
that main wait list.
Exactly.
And do that crosswalk.
Right.
And prioritize people
Right.
experiencing
But,
homelessness.
right, but what's happened with the central waiting list is we've essentially reached out to people on that wait list and said, do you want to, we've been through that wait list and we've said, do you want project-based units? And you know, it's no, 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 right? And so what Nicole's trying to solve for is that, right?
And I think, and we can take this offline.
Yeah, that
to
may be,
talk
that may be
about
a
it
separate
in-
discussion,
in,
yeah.
Our committee meeting or even separately. I think a part of what I'm trying to raise
Mhm.
is that traditionally that there were maybe a variety of housing resources that were dedicated to people experiencing homelessness.
Mhm.
And people might have said no to a project-based opportunity because they were anticipating the funding of housing opportunities that are dedicated to people experiencing homelessness.
Mhm.
As those opportunities
Right.
are no longer available, no longer,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
coming
Right.
forth,
Right,
people might have a different
Right.
reaction to
sure.
the project-based offers.
Well,
We'll look at that.
yeah, but one thought though is if what we're talking about is the opening of a project-based list at a site, that's open to everyone.
They have the
Yeah,
opportunity.
it would be
So,
open to
right.
everybody, but I'm assuming that preference then layers when you are going through the list
Right.
and sorting the list and offering people concrete opportunities within a project.
Right, but they would also need to apply.
But we'll talk the
Yeah.
logistics. We'll get to
Yeah,
the logistics,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
that's how we're gonna try to
Yes,
fill those
yes,
units.
Yes, please. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you to Commissioner Reed for opening that line of questioning.
Okay.
Sorry, Carolyn Day Punter. Just wanted to answer the question that Commissioner Clay posed. So yes, we do track hires when we have the hiring fair. So that's something that the Office of Resident Services will do.
Okay,
Mhm.
thanks. And that can be included in your report.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Executive Director's report.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we still have not heard from Commissioners Clay and Burbridge.
So Burbridge did
Murphy.
confirm,
So-
Burbridge did confirm that she is on,
So-
working through her technical.
Okay,
And I think Murphy had texted me that he was just stepping away for a moment.
Yeah,
So is
he's
he
gonna
back?
be getting back.
Oh, good, good, good. Okay.
But not right.
so is that 5?
It is fine.
Great, so we do have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. So with a quorum having been established, let's go back and approve the minutes of the April 8th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of April 8th.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, the minutes are approved as presented. Thank you.
Mr. Burbridge.
Okay, that was you, Commissioner Burbridge, right? Okay, welcome. Okay, so next we're going to go to uh, testimony. So we'll start with resident testimonies again. You can provide testimony on resolutions or any other issues that you have concerns about, and each person will have 3 minutes to testify.
So we're gonna start with Carletta Sweat. Or Carletta Sweat. Ms. Sweat, we just sent you a promotion request. Star 6 to unmute yourself so you can begin your 3-minute testimony.
Am I there?
You are.
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, great. Um, just quickly to start, Matthew 25 states that every kingdom divided against itself is brought to dissolution, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Verse 35 goes on to state that a good man or woman out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things, and an evil man or woman out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. And it is my prayer as I speak before you to bring forth good treasure from my heart that is received as a good thing that is needed in order for us to remove the negative stigma associated with voucher holders and bring a voice to the actual realities of our collective plights throughout the city. I am proposing to implement a Section 8 voucher holders participants action committee. With this limited time, I can only present the ideology with the intention of following DCHA's mission statement to cultivate opportunities for residents to improve their lives. With the creation and implementation of the voucher holders centralized interface, this will allow us, the actual voucher holders, to enter into the dangerous, murky, and ever-changing affordable housing oceans of greedy developers and their property managers. It will allow us to come off the shores and build a bridge of understanding between DCHA and its participants, instead of the two running on different courses to reach the ultimate point of affordable fair housing. The committee will provide community engagement and promote a new whistleblowing ideology. As voucher holders are uniquely placed throughout the city, we see something, we'll say something, sort of like adopt a block in the hood. Come on, you all, let's do something good. This concept promotes gratitude. It instills community leadership. It allows participants to be part of the solution to regain our communities. And most important, it will serve as a rehabilitative roadmap to show other governmental assisted entities the empowerment of organized inclusivity. We need a citywide social services call of action, and we don't need to reinvent the wheel, but we must be creative using what we have until we get more resources. People are dying from a lack of help. Cutting benefits and subsidy programs doesn't make people less poor. It makes our lives so much harder. We're further burdened down psychologically, socially, and spiritually. There's no peace in the home because our mentality and our actions are programmed for survival mode constantly. I don't have any time to speak about DCHA's pattern of neglect. A participants action committee will allow DCHA to be a beacon and broaden DC social services safety net. This form of peer community outreach utilizes the unique qualities, experiences, and attributes of participants all across the city. And this is the change that DC needs. We, the people, for the people, will help the people. We must become strategic, creative, and innovative in our approach. DCHA is in a unique position of reforming the landscape of our city's underserved, most vulnerable, and impoverished families by understanding that property management has nothing to do with the social services needed for the Section 8 voucher holders. This demographic of Section 8 voucher holders needs more than just a place to live. DCHA extends the most monetary assistance in providing rent. This unique position of DCHA needs to be enforced. Everybody on all realms need to be held accountable. It's written in DCHA's obligations of the family. It's time for further social intervention into the violating families that are not the landlord's responsibility. On the health pyramid, DCHA has the mandated right to place.
Please,
There we go.
please.
That's time, huh?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
great. I'm going to follow up with each individual commissioner because I have so much
Please.
more to say.
Okay, please do. I like the concept.
God bless you.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we have Dr. Malaya Al-Assad. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name correctly. Or first name. Dr. I want to say Malaya Al-Assad. I'm going to move forward. Next, we have former Commissioner Kenneth Council. Just sent you a promotion request. *6 to unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Kenneth Council, Citywide Advisory Board President. We have several questions regarding your proposal that you requested. We're requesting that you would table resolution 26-10 and 26-14 regarding the Microsoft licensing and as well as the mediation. There's some questions that we have that we can't really say now, but there's some that we want to bring to the forefront. We see that in the contract for the mediation, we want to know why there's 6 companies that's being brought on to mediate the services and the companies to be engaged for the red. We want to know if they're being engaged or will they be engaged for the red Section 18. Let's see. I'm trying to shorten it so it won't cut me off in my minutes. Along with the addition, we would like to request a copy of the RFP associated with both of the resolutions to review. And we want to know if the Davis Beacon has been added within these 2 resolutions. We'll send you a more updated copy emailed to you all before close of this BOC today. That's the business that we're dealing with the Citywide Advisory Board. But as a resident of DCHA, there's some issues that I'm noticing. I know the budget is cut short, but the day-to-day operations, I want you all to focus on the media, small things such as a doorknob or a screen or a filter or even a pipe for your toilet or your sink. These things need to be put in place, which they're not. A lot of these things you all have to go and purchase, or you have to go and take it out of an empty unit, and that shouldn't be. So I know the money is kind of scarce, but I want you all to pay attention to everyday things that we go through as a tenant. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Council. When we get to the resolutions, we can explain and respond to the issues that you raised there. And thank you again for bringing to our attention some of the day-to-day, very small but very important issues that you have to deal with on the day-to-day. And you know, our maintenance chief is here and is hearing this, and certainly would like to see appropriate follow-up.
So next we have former Commissioner Aquarius Van Gossary. Just Sent you a promotion request. It looks like you declined it. And I see that you're on *6 to unmute yourself and you can begin your 3-minute
Wait a
testimony.
minute, because I don't have my phone to *6. Wait a
No,
minute.
we can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear
Oh,
you.
okay. So now this is in reference to Resolution 2614. What I want for the record is for you to name the 6 companies. Are any of the companies minority companies and where they're located from? Because in this time and era, we also need to give business to DC companies. And when it comes to 2610 and 2614, I am wondering whether or not the Star Board is encouraging vendors to include Section 8 in their contracts in writing because it is an incentive to them because they can get tax credit write-offs. So that's a marketing approach there. I also want to congratulate Commissioner Blackson and want for the record for it to be noted that she is a housing choice voucher appointee, but she will still, as a whole, vote on the whole on all the bills. Now, when it comes to the election, it is very essential that you tell the third party monitor that when they have this meeting at Sibley, to let resident public housing residents know how to vote since they have to be at the voting polls. I think at 11 o'clock. So that's very important. And last but least, I want to know where can I, because your main mission is to HUD audit, and as one of the many whistleblowers of the audit, I've been trying to find where can I be on the net to find out what you all have successfully completed and what's left. And now that we're having our first election, I also want to know whether or not we're now an independent board. Now, this is the last thing I have to say. Please don't have me have to go and door knock and ask residents to force you all back into the communities. You would have meetings at Sibley, uh, Starter, Fort DuPont, Marvin Gaye Center, and usually in most of the wards, because this is very unfair for you all to continuously to sit there and the council itself allow us to come into their chambers. So that's a must. And hopefully that those who are running for mayor makes that, because I've asked everybody to make it one of their top contenders. And the homeless commissioner, she knows that we need a voice. So y'all need to figure out, once y'all get the whole board together, how many times a year that you can come into the community and bring the board back into the hood so that those who don't have a phone or can talk, you'll be able to hear everybody. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, former Commissioner Van Gossery.
Thank you,
So
Commissioner Scanlon.
you may be surprised that I'm going to agree with you. I think we ought to have our meetings move around to properties throughout the city. And I'm going to ask the staff, I'm looking at Nicole, to meet with the citywide advisory board and come up with a plan for how we can take these meetings out into the community.
Okay, will do.
Next, we have Pat Malloy. Ms. Malloy, we see that you are on the panelists. *6 to unmute yourself if you're having difficulty. See that you've unmuted yourself. Did you want to start your 3-minute testimony?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can. We have another device in the
No, I
back. I'm not sure why we hear the echo.
Why did they remove me?
There you go. You're good now. You can go ahead and begin your
Okay.
testimony.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Patricia Malloy, former Lincoln Heights Resident Council President, now a project-based voucher holder under the new community initiative, relocated to the Strand residency. Today, I'm here to inquire as to why Lincoln Heights management office haven't had phone service for over 9+ months. During previous board meetings, I have asked the same question. No correct response from upper management, nor only to be told working on issue. It does not take almost a year to get the phones working in the rental office. It does not take months to get phone service unless you don't have money to pay the bill. I am aware of Lincoln Heights having a new manager. She has put out flyers with her cell phone number for residents to call. That is not acceptable. Seniors, disabled residents have to find ways to go to the office to get services. Residents are calling me to help them to get simple maintenance concerns addressed. Why? Why should I have to call Ms. Punter or the manager, Ms. Buckner, or even Daniel from Empowered DC to get simple maintenance issues resolved? And what I mean by that is, and Ms. Punter and Ms. Buckner, the manager, can attest, staff does not clean the hallways. When you have seniors that are on walkers and canes and wheelchairs in the hallways trying to clean up dog poop and the smell. But my main concern today is Commissioner Skinner, other commissioners around the table and on Zoom, can you please explain to me why there is no phone service in Lincoln Heights rental office? Please stop telling me you're working on it. It's going to be really hard for you all to explain to me why, because there is no reason. Obviously, you don't want to hear from the residents in Lincoln Heights. You know they have no representation. I am still their voice. You are not going to silence me. But if I have to, I know you've seen the media footage of residents talking to the media in regards to maintenance issues and the conditions. I'm going to bring them to your rental office to show them there's no communication between DCHA and the residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd.
And, well, I was gonna say, I'm not aware of it not having.
Just 724-8535.
Neither 724-8535, 724-8534
So
doesn't even work.
I
So
just
you
tried.
can try calling it now for yourself and see
I
for
did.
yourself. It's not
I did.
fair to the manager.
I did try to call it. It goes to a menu. Was there an issue with the menu, or is it just not? Or is it?
She wants a
what do you
live
get?
person to call. Yes.
Why is it you all are not aware of this?
No,
Are you telling me that our testimony means nothing to the Star Board?
No,
Please
no.
don't tell me that.
It means a lot. That's why I just tried to call it. And
You tried all three numbers. It's gonna tell you the same thing. Unacceptable.
I just called 202-724-8535 and it went
Try
through.
34. All
The
their
number that's
lines.
listed, the number that's listed is 8535. I called that number and didn't have a problem.
The rental office to the residents, the only number they have is a 34. Someone need to get up off of their behind and go out there and talk to the residents. Don't put it all on Ms. Punter and the manager. You all are upper management. We have a Star Board. Not one member of the Star Board have been in Lincoln Heights to talk to the residents about anything. Unacceptable. That's why you are always in the media. I'm just frustrated.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd.
Thanks, Mr.
Okay.
Lloyd. We'll take care of it.
Yeah, we'll do better.
And I'll just say, that's an operational, so it should be our team doing it, meaning management team, Carolyn's team. So we'll see what's going on. Sounds like Commissioner Clay called, the number was working, so we'll figure out what's going on with the one that ends in 4 that you mentioned, Hazel.
Okay. Next, we have Melody Cooper. Melanie Cooper, we are sending you a promotion request. We see that you are unmuted. You have 3 minutes to begin your testimony.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Good morning. Well, actually, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melody. First, I wanted to say how grateful I am to the DC Housing Authority's voucher program. However, lately the administration side has been an uphill battle. My request for Tennessee approval packet was submitted on April 10th and assigned to my housing specialist, Maurice Holton. I want to say by April 15th. And I haven't heard anything in reference to the process except it's always pending. I've been up to the office bi-weekly. I'm calling weekly. And my unit has really been in abatement for almost a year now. I have an emergency transfer voucher, and the urgency just to get out of this place is just it's just haven't been where it's at. Let me see. I want to say the most disheartening thing is when I call by myself to advocate for myself, I feel like I'm not giving the correct information. However, when I call with Ward 8 Director of Constituent Services on the call, the conversation is always so different. I'm giving different numbers during that time. I email people, people don't email me back. And I have to be out of my unit by May 31st at the end of this month, and I have nowhere to go. And yeah, I just want someone to actually take care of my case.
Okay, Ms. Cooper, we'll have staff follow up directly with you.
Okay, also, when I went to the office yesterday, they said I still need to recertify, although in order for me to get my transfer voucher, I submitted that information in March and it still hasn't been uploaded.
Ms. Cooper, Anton Shaw is the director. He's out sick today, but I'll definitely follow up with him as soon as this meeting's over and we'll get back to you today.
Thank you. I've put in complaints and I haven't heard anything from anyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's my time. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we're gonna move on to, I believe this is former Commissioner Janet Parker. Janet Parker. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. Next, we have Donna Towns. Ms. Towns, we see that you're on as a panelist. If you could star 6 to unmute yourself so you can begin your 3-minute testimony. Okay, you're unmuted. Donna Towns. So Ms. Towns, we're gonna move forward. Please text Carla if you wanted to come back, if we wanted you to come back to add your testimony to the record. Next, we have Tanisha Tuxon. Tanisha Tuxon, we're adding you as a panelist. You are unmuted.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. You can begin your 3-minute testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanisha Tuxon. I am a former student at UPO. I was a rapid rehousing family member, and I was approved for a HCV voucher. I chose to lease up to keep things simple. Um, I had little instructions and communications and updates during the lease up process. I asked for help during DHS and DCHA many times through email and office visits. Um, I submitted my paperwork on time. My landlord and DCHA did not continue the process on the time totaling on my voucher, and did not communicate with me or give me any update regarding my inspection that failed the second time. And this was all in a time of my tolling period, and my voucher was taken from me. So now I'm in a home with me trying to move with the voucher that I was supposed to be given, me trying to move, and I have no electric for about like a month. So it's just like I was given a voucher and it was taken back from me due to no one communication, rental office, DCHA, visiting office and everything. And they were told that they can help me out. And it was just so much back and forth. 1 minute they couldn't help me out, and then one of the employees told me that this happens all the time, but the rental office not responding, so we could just add more time to your voucher. And now I'm in a loop of just not knowing what's going on with my housing situation for me and my kids. And they were supposed to give me a voucher December 20th of 2025, an updated voucher with tolling time on it. And that would have prevented me having my electric off for a week, because I could have been moved into another unit. But and now I'm just, and I advocate for myself. I don't have a case manager or anything like that. So that's all I have to say.
Ms. Tuckson, we can reach out to you on that, because rapid rehousing, that was being run by one of our contractors. So we'll have HCVP staff reach out to you.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Paulette Matthews.
Hello. Excuse me. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
Good.
My name is Paulette Matthews. I'm a former resident of Berry Farms. I live in Keller Miller. I'm also the president here. But communication is the key, and all lives matter. So I want to talk about a few things, but I don't have enough time. So I will be talking to the director on Wednesday about some issues, and I'll have that time. So I want to first talk about security and the DCHA police department that has been short-staffed for as long as I've known it. I believe what goes on is that you hire, they train, and then they go to MPD. There needs to be something done or written in the job description or something, whereas though they have to at least give y'all 2 years or something, because it makes no sense to keep saying that you're short when there's a lot of security issues. Okay, around here on the apartment doors, they use these key pod things, which break. You got to order them because I don't think they have enough on the property for all the places that they have to have it. I'm wondering why they can't just go back to keys. I get it that people put things in the door, they break it and all that, but I think keys would be an easier method, because a lot of times in the winter, there's a lot of homeless people, sex going on, drugs going on, or what have you. And that makes no sense. So some of the people, the seniors that live in these buildings, be scared to come out. So something really has to be done about the security and the DCHA police department. Also, a lot of times, because I do a lot of flyering of the properties to make sure that people get the information that they need. And I have a way of actually putting them in the door, because I learned that through Empower DC and One DC. I started doing that a long time ago. So I learned how to put it in the house so nobody can say that they didn't get it. But I was informed yesterday that because the DCHA staff have a union, that they're not supposed to do that. I'm like, they go into the building. Why can't they just take a piece of paper? But I've been doing it. I've been walking through everybody's unit, signing their door, but I done got a little older now, so I try to tape it in the hallway. But I was just wondering about that part right there. Why is that so difficult? Because I would think that when y'all was saying that they were going to get ready to get some brooms and stuff for the dog poop, I would have been bucking that. I'm not going, these people got these dogs and get, no, I would have been bucking. But to put a piece of paper just to inform the residents of the things that are happening within their community, it doesn't make sense to me. So when I heard that yesterday, I was like, wow. But I passed out some before I left the neighborhood. And also, I want to talk about the high rise. And I don't know, I guess they did inside of the units, but throughout that whole building, it looks ridiculous. And I don't know how them come in and do inside the units and didn't think about the appearance of the hallways and the floors and stuff like that. So I'm going to leave the rest of it to the conversation next week. But those things are what's bothering me the most, the security and the fact that the seniors are here and they feel some type of way. Oh, and y'all contractors. When the contractors come and y'all get all these contractors, how many DCHA inspectors do y'all have and who be with them? What do they do? I mean, because I've seen some crazy stuff and I didn't go to school for that, but I think I could be a daggone good one because I'm not understanding how a lot of things get done and then you find out at the last minute that it don't work now and it ain't up to them, or even if DCHA can't touch it, we got to call them because it's still under their contract and things like that. And then they have units where it don't even have the racks in your closet, but you allow somebody to move into the unit and they can't even hang their clothes. I've seen so many different things that don't make sense. And not just here, but something needs to be done.
Ms. Matthews, I know you're going to be meeting with the director next week, so you can bring up all your issues at that time. Thank you.
Yeah, but I want.
Okay, that concludes our resident. We're gonna move with our non-resident. And we have first Daniel Del Peliego.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you. The process has changed a little bit. Before it would say join and now it says unmute. So thank you for that. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daniel Del Pielago. I work with Empower DC. I've got just a quick question and more of a matter of process. I just spoke recently to a senior resident at a public housing property who shared that her nephew, who is kind of her ride to doctor's appointments and to the errands she has to run around the city, was barred from the property. The person shared the barring notice with me, and there appears to be very little information on there. It doesn't, in the check boxes, it doesn't list who, the reason for why. It appears it may be due to it being one of those kind of things where you write on one piece of paper and then you rip it off and it's supposed to leave a copy to leave with the person. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like, but the copy they received does not have that information. I don't have the full story to be honest 100% because what the person is telling me is that she was not told the reason why the nephew is being barred. And the officer, which was a DCHA police department officer, refused to give their name. Although we do have it and we can share that with the appropriate person. So I guess that one question is like, what is that process? And really like, how does that work? And then secondly, if this person wants to contest it, is it the grievance process? Is there something else? I found some stuff online, but the form itself does say you would file a grievance at the management office. So just wanted to flag that and see who maybe could follow up with about this.
Is the chief on? I don't know if OPS is on. Who wants to talk about the barring process? If not, I can talk briefly. Okay, so I mean, it would not go through the grievance process that folks are used to through, and I don't know if Mr. Douglas wants to discuss it, but it's not a grievance process like what you would go through as a resident, because we only bar non-residents from our sites, typically for engaging in criminal activity. If the resident wanted to reach out to, I guess to me or to, our chief, we could get a full copy of, we could get them a full copy of of the barring notice. And further explanation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll follow up with you directly.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. We're happy to discuss more with you.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go back. I believe we have former Commissioner Janet Parker on. Janet Parker. I'm gonna give her some time so you can be joined to the panelists. We have sent you a promotion request. *6 to unmute yourself. You've unmuted yourself. You want to begin your 3-minute testimony?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Parker.
Hi, I'm Janet Parker. I am a resident at Regency House. And I wanted to talk about my concerns in regards to the aging plumbing in many of these buildings and the fact that we have lots of pipes that are leaking and causing mold problems. You currently have a resolution in front of you in regards to mold control, and I want you to consider the fact that these buildings really do need that. Black mold is a very serious health concern for all of our residents, and it can also be undetected and inside the building for quite a while before residents realize it's a problem, because water is seeping between walls and on floors and such. I had a situation in my own apartment where the neighbor above me had a very pinhole prick in a pipe up there. And she unfortunately passed away. And the bucket that she had put underneath that leak, of course, filled with water. And I guess it flooded the entire apartment. And then before I knew it, it was coming down in my apartment, streaming down the wall. And so I actually had a flood in my bathroom because of the situation. And there are many problems with piping and plumbing problems in all of these properties. And I don't know what you're doing to address upgrading the piping systems in these buildings, these older buildings, but it's very important to do so. And mold is a major problem when the plasterboard gets wet. I also wanted to mention, I'm glad that we're finally having an election for an elected person on the Board of Commissioners. And I am on the ballot and will be running for that position. And I hope to be able to meet with you all later. So I thank you very much for listening to me today. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
Going back to our non-resident, the final person that we have is William Jordan. William Jordan, I know we sent your promotion request. *6 to unmute. Perfect. I see you've unmuted yourself.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank the board for taking steps towards a more resident-centric approach and urge the board to accelerate from a resident to a resident-centric approach from the unit-centric approach. And that by taking a resident-centric approach, I guarantee the results will be much better. I wanted to first speak on the mole contract and share the experience at Park Morton when remediating mold was used as a reason to displace residents in the development process. And I ask that you study exactly what went down in that process, and that what actually happened, they didn't do mold remediation, they did a interim controls, which is a different process. And that the management at that time used that as an opportunity to displace residents. And I think that's a large reason why you have Ms. Towns often coming on board to complain, because it was used as a smokescreen for other purposes than to ensure that that contract is not used in this way in other places. Second, when that process was happening, we pushed the agency to encourage either resident training or the creation of resident companies to actually participate in that process so that residents would earn income, employment in fixing up their own buildings and other properties of DCHA. And by doing that, you actually create stronger resident employment and et cetera. And that's what a resident-centric approach means, is that you actually look for how do you leverage what you're going to do anyway to move residents forward. The next one is there's some things that came up earlier that are systemic. And if you don't address some of this, this is why you have a problem. The reason project-based vouchers become a problem is many times the developers are developing projects that are not in the interest of residents, but in the interest of getting the project done. And so you create one bedrooms because that fits financially, but those one bedrooms don't fit the needs of residents. And then when you try to leverage those units, residents don't want them because they were designed for the project and not designed for residents. A related matter is the taking on debt. So the agency is taking on debt, including the revenue bonds, but that debt has to be paid back. And often what happens is if resident income doesn't rise faster than the debt that you're taking on, then residents pay the price in other ways. So it's important that we work on strengthening resident families and that their income grows twice the level of debt service in order to ensure that the debt doesn't drown resident aspirations. And then my last comment is there's rumors going around that residents don't want home ownership, equity, and those things that improve their lives. And if this agency is part of that, it needs to stop. Many, many, many residents want to own homes. They want better lives, and they just don't want to be puppets of a process. So I urge this board to push for a resident-centric approach and look, whenever it spends money, for a way to circulate that money back to resident families. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Chairman, that concludes our testimony for today.
Okay. Again, I want to thank all of those who came forward to provide testimony today. Again, we do take your comments into account as we evaluate and look at ways that we can improve the agency and make the lives of our residents better. Okay, next on the agenda is going to committee reports and resolutions. And I'm going to start with the Operations and Administrative Services Committee. Commissioner Silla.
Thank you, Chair. We're gonna do resolutions
Yeah,
first.
right, yeah.
Introduce resolutions first and
Right.
then talk about the committee. So Resolution 2610 is to authorize the execution of a contract for Microsoft Office 365. And I thought Michael Buck was here. He did step out, so Jean Somerville is coming to the table to give the procurement update.
So Jean, let me pause for a second.
Yes.
Because we had some comments earlier about the resolution. I want you to kind of just, high level, just walk through the process in terms of how we procure various types of services. But the first thing to know, somebody asked about the RFP. The RFPs are posted on our website, and within the RFP, it lists the scope of services that we're requesting, but also the requirements and the scoring criteria.
Yes.
So when we get the responses to the RFP in, there's a team that's put together to actually score, but that scoring is based on the criteria that again is specifically laid out in the RFP. So anyone can go online, get the RFP, and you can see the criteria that was used to evaluate the responses that we get. And then and I'll let Jean again.
Well, Commissioner Skinner, you did a great job. Like that's exactly it. But yeah,
the point I want to make is there is transparency. Like, all of this stuff is on the website, and anyone can go on and look at it.
Yes, in particular with Microsoft 365 and with Mo, they were both requests for proposals. And that information is on our website. The evaluation criteria is very specifically laid out in the solicitation, because that is the only way that the respondents know how they're going to be scored. And so all of that information is within there, and it's very detailed out, including how they are to prepare their proposal, and to how they are to include everything that we're asking for within that proposal.
And to I know this is Mr. Jordan's issue. We also asked for some Section 3. There's some Section 3 requirements.
So Section 3 is always required with all of our soliciting. However, Section 3 doesn't always apply. If it is a professional services, there is no Section 3 that can be kind of carried out on that. Although we do have companies that will say, you know what, even though it's not required, I still can help this initiative in this way. So there are requirements for Section 3, and where they're not applicable, we do not push that.
Can we,
Go ahead.
in the scoring, is it possible to perhaps give additional scoring for people who, even if it's not required?
HUD does not allow the bonus scoring. So it is not allowed.
Okay. Thank you for that. That's all.
I think something that's been really helpful in our committee discussion about the procurement process has been how you evaluate the quality of work of contractors that are already working for the DC Housing Authority, but are bidding on a contract. So I think it would actually be helpful to the people that are listening as well as the board if you could just talk a little bit about the system you have in place for evaluating current contractors who are also bidding on future work.
Great question, Commissioner Saylor. So currently we have a couple of different avenues to rate performance rating. So a lot of our team has traditionally been used to doing that rating within just kind of manual processes. Last year, we introduced a program and software called Procurated, of which the staff, and that includes anyone at any of our headquarters locations as well as on the sites, can go into that system and they can rate contractors, but the contracts have to be put into that system. And so we had not made it a business of putting some of our professional services in there because we were more focused on the construction side and the development side of it. So we are now implementing where we put more of our professional services contracts into that system so that when they go into the system, they can choose that contract. And then from that contract is where they begin the work of reviewing. So when it comes to mold, we do have some reviews for some of the contractors. So some of the contractors are new on that list, and some of them are new to mold. So we are still compiling for some of the teams that are used to doing it in the traditional manual way. We're having to have them kind of go through emails and collect those.
So just to be clear, who's doing the reviewing?
any DCHA staff, whether it's like I would say like a Mike Buck or anyone on Carolyn Ponter's team, that's actually on site working with the
Working with that
Yes,
contractor.
and for
Okay.
my team, it's my labor and compliance that handle Davis Bacon. They're out there and they're in the field, and so they are eligible to do those evaluations so that they can talk about what they saw when they were out there, just whatever wide variety of what they want to discuss in their reviews.
And you just mentioned Davis Bacon. I know former Commissioner Kenneth Council brought that up. So, and I think for these contracts, Davis Bacon does not apply.
So for Microsoft 365, it absolutely does not apply because it is not a construction. So Davis Bacon, just to kind of give a quick definition of how it applies, it is applied to contracts that are construction, repair, and maintenance with a value of equal to or greater than $2,000. So if it's a project where like Microsoft 365, that is just them giving us licensing and support. There's no Davis Bacon applicable there. When it comes to mold, Davis Bacon will only become applicable if in their mold discovery, there is now construction work or repair work that is equal to or greater than $2,000.
So the mold remediation is considered maintenance? Is that part of the difference?
This RFP is considered maintenance, right? You call in a work order. Now, some job is made more bigger than that may go to a construction one, but this is
for just typical, they go out, they assess, they look. If there is no remediation that needs to be handled, then there is no Davis Bacon that applies to them going out, taking a look and assessing.
Okay, with that, can you talk about Resolution 2610? That's the Microsoft. And Mr. Buck is back, so right on time.
Yes, you're right on time. Okay, so Resolution 2610 to authorize the execution of a contract for Microsoft Office 365 licensing. The purpose of the resolution is to authorize the interim executive director to enter into a contract for Microsoft Office 365 licensing and support with Crayon Software Experts. The contract will have a term of 1 year with option to extend at DCHA sole discretion for 2 additional 1-year option terms for a potential total maximum 3-year term in the amount of $584,145.72 per year for an aggregate amount of $1,752,437.16. Of course, subject to the availability of funding. And just to give you all some background on it, we currently have Microsoft 365. It's what we operate off of. It's everything from our emails to Teams and everything within the Office Microsoft 365 suite. And so a solicitation was conducted. We did have 3 respondents for that solicitation. However, 2 were disqualified in the evaluation process because they did not possess the required certification for someone that is going to provide licensing for an agency of this style and size. And so we had to disqualify them. And then our most responsive, responsible, and cost reasonable contractor for that was Crayon Software Experts, which is who we're presenting today to do a contract for. And I'll turn it over for questions.
Who's the incumbent? Is that the same?
Yes, Crayon is the current contractor that has provided those licenses.
Okay, questions from the board? Commissioner Silla, I know you went over this in your operations committee meeting. Did you have any concerns?
No, we did not. In fact, we were quite delighted that the DC Housing Authority team paused the process once they realized that the selected party didn't have the appropriate certification, and we were happy that they pivoted to the next most responsible bid that was qualified and had the appropriate certification. So this passed without too much discussion.
Okay. So having heard that, can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2610?
Motion.
For Microsoft Office 365. Got a motion and second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Commissioner Clay, you look like you had a question.
I did have a question. I don't mean to be nitpicky at all, but things like Power BI, Planner, do you find that those are used throughout the organization? When you do these licenses, are there are there cost savings if you don't apply all of these to everyone?
What is Power BI?
It's for dashboards and reporting for the agency. So we're working on implementing that right now, and we don't apply it to everybody. So those licenses, we only purchase those for those that are going to need it. Right?
Okay.
And there's lots of different tiers without getting too into the weeds, but yes.
No, that's helpful. I wasn't sure if everyone was getting it.
Yeah, we absolutely make sure that we're not overspending in that regard. That we only give folks what they need to do their job is our goal.
And to add to the Power BI, so we heard loud and clearly through many hearings, others, that dashboards are needed. So that's why we added that.
It makes sense to have. I just wasn't sure.
You are reminding me that we also discussed AI and why the team was not taking advantage of AI.
So yeah, there's, I mean, as I think a lot of us know, there's lots of different options for AI tools. We're evaluating a bunch of those, whether it be for things like meeting note taking, right? You have these great tools that can listen to everybody and take notes for you. So we're evaluating those, and Copilot, which is Microsoft's option for that. We have a couple of licenses for that so that we can evaluate and then we can roll out a little bit as we figure out, what would be most advantageous to me.
So does Copilot automatically come up like on my personal computer?
If you have the license for it. Yeah. So like on your personal computer, Microsoft is pushing that out as part of Windows.
I have three.
Right. So you'll see that pop up. But as an agency, we won't have the agency. Not everybody's, to your point, will have the agency licensing because it is expensive. So we're gonna, identify where we need it, where we can use it. And Copilot, for instance, won't be the right answer for every situation, right? We actually found it's not as good for meeting note taking, surprisingly, as this other option that we've been evaluating.
So I've noticed recently that stuff is popping up when I'm like in meetings, that there are these AI things that take notes and does a really good job.
Yeah. So
are we using any of that?
Well, and that's what we're evaluating. And we're working with general counsel so that we don't, we don't want it applied to every single meeting, right? And we need to have good training in place for our staff so that somebody doesn't join a confidential meeting and inadvertently note take and then send that out, right? So there's a lot of ins and outs with this that we want to make sure we do it right and not just throw it out there and then have other issues.
Thank you. Any commissioners online? Any questions? Commissioner Murphy, are you?
Nope. I am comfortable.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So having said that, can we get a motion? It's been moved and seconded. So can we get a roll call vote on resolution 2610 for contract with Microsoft Office 365?
Sure. Commissioner Rosa Burbridge, you're muted, so star 6 to unmute yourself. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. Commissioner Chris Murphy,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Jennifer Reed,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Teresa Silla,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Rosa Burbridge,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Denise Blackson,
Yes.
thank you. And Chairman Skinner,
Yes.
thank you. The resolution is approved.
Okay, thank you. So the next resolution is 26-14, authorized execution of multiple contracts for mold remediation services. And again, we heard from some of the testimony that mold is a really big issue in many of our properties. So I think it's really important for us to move forward and get this contract in place as soon as possible so we can continue the remediation that we have been doing, but we need to do more.
Yes, sir. You ready?
Yes.
Resolution 2614 to authorize the execution of multiple contracts for mold remediation services. The purpose of this resolution is to authorize the interim executive director to enter into multiple contracts for mold remediation with built Covias, Launch, Salute, Sandow, and Total Environmental for a term of 1 year with annual amount up to $75,000 per contractor for a possible aggregate not to exceed $450,000 subject to the availability of funding. I'll just give you all, and I'm going to kind of skip this one to just kind of the amounts, because that was a question that was brought up in our committee meeting to address the amounts and if they would suffice and last the life cycle of the contract for the time that's needed. And so, Commissioner Silla, to your question, we have 6 contracts for $75,000. That's a total of $450,000, and that's about. I spoke with CCD and PMO. That's about 180 units that can be covered at like a price tag of average about $2,500 per unit. And so then we came back and asked the question, what kind of in fiscal year, the average fiscal year 25, the average was about 289 work orders for mold remediation. However, in those work orders, staff was able to handle some of those because it was just an issue of sometimes it was just an air conditioning event or they needed to kind of help with venting within the unit. So it wasn't always where there was a mold that was actually fouled. And so we are actually confident in that 180 number of units that we could possibly cover with these 6 contractors is going to be sufficient. And so we ran those numbers through both PMO and CCD, and they seem to be happy with what we actually are proposing to award per contractor and the volume of which they'll be able to address our mold issues.
I think it was also former Commissioner Council had asked about naming the six companies, and the companies are listed in the resolution.
Yes,
right?
they are.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And Jean also kindly called out who the awardees were.
Yes.
So hopefully, Commissioner Kenneth Council also caught that.
So are any of those incumbents that are on the list?
Well, Salute, Sandow, and Total Environmental, yes, have handled mold. Launch has also handled mold remediation. Covias is new to mold, but they are not new to the agency. They have contracts with janitorial. They have, I believe, construction contracts with CCD. So, and then Built is the only new name I think that we have on the list. But their scoring and their proposal were well within responsive, responsible, and cost resource. We feel like they are capable of doing the job. And then we have performance ratings if they do not.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
you know, I was a little bit surprised by Commissioner Kenneth Council's public testimony and questions about mold remediation, because at the last hearing, he had really talked up the contractor who had done the mold remediation in his particular unit and had said that that was exemplary. So we were hoping that this particular resolution would be one that he would be supportive of. And so I hope when he has an opportunity to see who was selected, that a part of that jives with his experience with really good mold remediation work. So hopefully that'll be one outcome of this discussion and adoption.
Okay. So having had that, can we get a motion to approve resolution 2614, authorize contracts for mold remediation services?
Motion.
Second. Second. Any further discussion? Any commissioners online? Let me see. Nobody has their hand raised. If there's no further discussion, can we get a roll call vote?
Sure. Commissioner Jennifer Reed. Okay, I can come back. Commissioner Denise Blackson.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Rosa Burbridge.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Chris Murphy.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Teresa Silla.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Jennifer Reed.
She may have dropped off.
She might have dropped off. Okay. So Commissioner Chairman Skinner.
Yes.
That's 5. The resolution is approved.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Silla, can you continue with your Operations Committee report?
Yes, so other things that were discussed during the meeting included a little bit of planning around the move to work plan. The staff updated us to let us know that there will be some changes, likely not as many as the last time, and to think through whether we needed an education symposium to walk the board through some of those updates. We will evaluate the need for scheduling an education symposium as we get closer to drafting and finalizing that move to work plan. We most certainly, we did talk about this, make sure that there is a presentation to either the block by block or the citywide advisory board so that resident leaders are also kept informed and have an opportunity to comment on the plan as well. As part of that, we also flagged resolutions for the Committee on Resident Services and whether it is appropriate to share some of the resolutions that are being evaluated at the Committee on Operations and Administrative Services. We can continue to talk about that, especially as we do our strategic planning, but I wanted to flag to you, Chair, that was a part of the conversation. Now, in the board book for our committee, I think, we cover so many different areas of domain. It's not possible for us to dive into all of those different domains. So we focused on HR vacancies, security, and regulation and policy updates. So under public safety, we looked at that section first. We did notice that there was a surge in bar notices. It looks different than the same time period last year. The chief had reassured us that this was in close coordination and collaboration with the reassignment of staff to specific properties that have been identified as challenging to ensure that we are following up on bar notices. So it seemed like it was very intentional and a very specific strategy. I was therefore concerned about and tracking the comments on bar notices. So we'll make sure as a committee, we follow back up to make sure that the complaint and the concern being raised don't give us a slightly different picture of what might be happening on the ground and the pressures that residents are facing because of this shift in policy. HR vacancies, of course, I think we all know that due to the challenging fiscal conditions, there is a freeze in place since November. We were reassured by the executive director that HR will be planning to repurpose certain duties so that we can be assured that all of the duties and responsibilities, the critical ones, are covered throughout the agency, despite the fact that hiring is not possible right now, given our fiscal situation.
And I'll just add, so certain positions we will backfill, as we heard, there's some police officer positions, housing choice voucher side if we lose inspector. So we got to keep the operations going. So those positions are being backfilled if those individuals leave out.
Thank you for that clarification. I'm sure it's reassuring. With regulation on policy updates, we walked through the admin plan, the ACOP plan, made sure we were on the same page. We do know we will likely be adopting the final admin plan. And so we had a conversation about the packet and the contents of the packet that will be escalated to the board for review, first to the committee and then the full board.
And what's the timing of that?
I think June.
That's the goal. It is out it was published in the DC Register approximately a week or two ago. So it is presently out for what, should be the final public comment period.
That's 30 days, 60 days?
30 days.
30.
So we'll see and it's been posted on our website. So we'll see if we get, further comments.
We will.
Well,
we might also
we may not. We got a lot last time. So,
Yeah.
we've been very responsive to those.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you,
You're
Commissioner
welcome.
Silla. Next, we're going to go to the Committee on Resident Services. Commissioner Laxon, are you? Yeah, I see you're still on.
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, we had a great meeting on the Committee on Resident Services. We had a presentation from Mr. Shaw with a lot of the questions that are often asked here in the board meetings as well as in the block by blocks. So he gave a very detailed and informative presentation. He covered things like what is a voucher, the different types of vouchers, how they are funded, the rules, the portability, process for lease up. And oftentimes, I know I wanted to know the roles and responsibility of each of the HCVP staff. So we got very detailed presentation from him, as well as report from Director Harris of the Office of Resident Services with updates on the impact events from February to April. And I just want to say I really appreciate the Office of Resident Service because I oftentimes attend a lot of their events or even educational sessions or trainings. I stop past the enhancement center and show face and meet some of the residents and get to talk to them about these events and education sessions that they receive or trainings. So I want to commend Director Hurst and his team for that. We also at that committee meeting we discussed the block by block. The block by block is an initiative created with the residents in mind to give them the collaboration with DCHA staff, chance for training, um, other opportunities for resident leaders to communicate with each other face to face where they oftentimes don't have that time to do so. But we bring everybody into one session, be very transparent, and we have a question session with the directory team. So we had a lot of questions this past block by block. And I think PMO, Carolyn and her team did a great job with answering. We had questions like talking about the smoking, that was a big concern. And I can see PMO, I've already seen signs and notices posted since that block by block in some of the properties. I've walked some of the properties and I've also been to some meetings at some of the different DCHA public housing properties. Some of the other questions consisted of fight back, as Commissioner Silla mentioned, property management and training. Of course, the dogs and pets are a big topic at every meeting. Even the resident council meeting I attended yesterday, the dogs were a big topic. So this committee is highly focused on, residents and things that affect residents directly and hearing straight from actually the resident leaders as well as the citywide advisory board. At that block by block, we received updates from Erin Wilson about the bond properties. And, she covered things like residents' rights, the financing, the tenant protections, and the steps and timelines. So I think we had a great meeting. Oh, as well, don't let me forget from DHS, the new TANF rules and regulations. That was very informative and good to know the new steps that'll be taking place with TANF. Commissioner Silla, did I leave out anything? I know you probably watched it.
Okay.
No, Commissioner Blackson, that was very comprehensive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Oh, and let me ask Commissioner Murphy because he attended and we appreciate his
I
presence.
was just going to
Yes.
jump in. I was just going to jump in to appreciate you, Commissioner Blackson. It was such a good meeting. The attendees were so engaged. Just a really, really important vehicle for us to be able to share information with them and get their feedback. And I'm just so grateful that you organized them because they're just quite powerful. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Blackson. And Commissioner Murphy, since you're unmuted, I'm going to call on you for the Capital Projects Committee report.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did sort of a preliminary dive into the capital spend numbers and into the latest urgent needs update numbers. But I think we all agreed that, including the staff team, that the data we were looking at wasn't quite what we needed. So we've asked the team, and I know they were under the gun getting ready for the oversight hearing, and they had a bunch of crises. So I appreciate that. So we've asked them to come back next month with a little bit more specific information and updated information, and we're excited for that conversation coming up in a couple weeks. We also got a bit of an update on the IRB funded projects, the 9 funded bond supported projects, and I don't know if Director Wycliffe, if you want to say anything, but the resident meetings and the other resident briefings that have been going on sound like they've been going really well, and I appreciate the team has sort of used this as an opportunity to kind of design a resident communication strategy that they're able to replicate at all the projects. So as they do these, or at all the properties as they do these briefings. So great to hear that that's happening, and we'll look forward to hearing more. And then we talked about the line of credit. We'll get an update on that at our next meeting as well. And I think we've talked about this. We've asked for monthly updates on the line of credit, what we're drawing down, and what our the payback schedule is looking like, because we want to kind of bird dog that and make sure that that things are looking as sort of conservative as we want them to be. We want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on that. I think that's probably where I would stop. Director, I don't know if you wanted to add anything about any of that.
Nope, I didn't have anything to add. Thank you. That was great. Aaron and Sheila are actually attending something else, so they have been facilitating the meetings. They have been great, they said, and we'll just continue that momentum and coming back as we get more information.
That's great. And Erin did the presentation on the IRB projects to the block by block group. She did a really nice job. And I think part of it is just coming clean and saying to residents, we have not done a good enough job of keeping you in the loop on these things in the past, and we are going to work to fix that. So I appreciated her just making that concession, because I think it's important that we admit where we've fallen down so that we can get back up and do better.
Great. Thank you.
And I don't think we have any resolutions this month. I know we don't have any resolutions this month.
We don't, but I did want to make a comment, if I might. And this is associated with the feedback that we got from Mr. Williams on the phone call. When he was talking about some of the ways in which he feels residents are not prioritized by developments. So for example, and I think there was one particular example that he gave that really struck out to me, right? It was about the fact that 1-bedroom units are so much cheaper to develop, and therefore we do not develop enough of the larger unit sizes. And then that made me think of this extensive analysis that we actually did, where Sheila was helping us understand what the unit cost associated with a particular development was. And I'm so sorry, I do not recall the development off the top of my head. But in that, we had itemized that a part of the reason why the costs were so high was because we were prioritizing larger bedroom sizes. And so I just wanted to flag that there might be some ways in which we are not communicating the work that we are doing and just how resident-centered we are in even approving construction costs or total development costs or per unit costs that make us feel uncomfortable, but that we know is necessary based on the bedroom sizes that we want to achieve. And so just hearing that comment and recognizing the disconnect with decisions that we are making, I just wanted to speak to that disconnect kind of on the record, and to maybe encourage us to think about when we're making decisions like that. It's hard to figure out what to communicate and how to communicate it, but maybe there's a way in which we need to amplify when we are assuming these higher costs for construction, especially because we're working so hard to provide the kinds of units that we know our larger families need. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Commissioner Murphy?
I agree. I'm not sure. Sorry.
Well, you're done. You're done.
We are done. We are done. Sorry. Yeah, we didn't have a resolution, so it takes it's anticlimactic this month. I apologize.
Okay, thank you. So I guess Commissioner Reed had to drop off. She's in the midst of budget season. So I don't know if Commissioner Clay is prepared to talk about the
Just mention one thing. And
okay, this is a committee on budget and audit.
Yeah. I actually have a question. The audit is due June 1st, and that would be before our next meeting. Historically, we have had the board vote to accept the audit before the audit is submitted. But I don't know that that's a requirement. So
Since this isn't this is the single audit that we do for HUD, we would definitely bring to you, but this one is done, through OIG.
Right, so.
Right.
Okay.
The single audit due to HUD is not due till the end of June.
Okay.
And so it's right. The June 1st deadline is really the one that's going to be submitted to the council, and just the financial statements. I mean, it's still important. So I'm not trying to minimize it, but it's not the audit you vote on.
Whether we vote or not,
It's going.
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. So we should have another board meeting before the single audit.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really all that I have. The team is working on.
Okay.
Can I ask, will they give us a briefing on that before it gets released?
We should. Yeah. I mean, that's what we did last year.
Yes.
That's my
I'm
memory.
hoping they will. And we'll circle back with them because that's how, as Amy said, we had a briefing last year with the last firm.
Great.
So just so I'm clear, so the audit is due June 1st.
So the OIG audit is due June 1st.
Okay. And that's the one that's CLA is working on, right?
That's the financials. Right. They're doing
They're
both.
doing both. That's the one that the council that's in the DC law that the OIG has to do of the agency. And then there's the single audit that has to go to the federal government.
Right.
That's due June 3rd.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, will it be completed by the June 1st deadline?
I don't think we have a choice. But the question is that I think we still don't know is what will be the outcome of it. But it will be done.
It will be done.
Yeah.
The question is whether it's clean, is that the term, clean audit?
Or how clean or how.
Well, right. And we should expect, just to manage all of our expectations, right? We should expect that we don't think all the previous findings will be closed. There will be some that are likely to remain open, not because great work hasn't been done. Part of it is because what great work was done after the time period closed, and they can't opine on that yet. Right. So we expect good progress, but probably no findings. I think that would be overly optimistic. Is that fair?
That's fair. And I think there's also a question as to what the opinion will be, because there still are some accounts that the team is working to reconcile. And one of the big ones is the interagency. And we even talked about that in the last hearing. Significant interagency is, but that could have an impact on what the audit opinion comes out.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Clay. So that's it for all of our committee reports. And again, I want to thank the committee chairs and members for really diving in and doing good work and hard work and looking at some of the issues that affect us on a day-to-day basis. So next is commissioner's time. And let me start out with a couple things that I want to mention, and then I'll open it up for all of the commissioners. First thing is, as you know, we're going to do a search for a new executive director. There's an RFP that has been posted to the website. The responses are due May the 18th. We will follow the same process that Jean talked about earlier in terms of our procurement, in terms of the RFP and going through a process of looking at the responses and scoring the responses and selecting the best firm that will work with us in terms of reaching out to the universe and getting potential candidates to fill the position. So I've appointed a board search committee to work with to work together on that selection process, and that consists of Commissioner Silla, Commissioner Clay, Commissioner Blackson, and myself as chair. So we will be the ones ultimately responsible for first reviewing the responses to for the selection of the search firm, and then once we'll start working with the search firm to identify candidates and interview candidates, and the search committee of the board will make a recommendation to the full board for selecting a candidate. So that process could take several months, but I would certainly like to have a new person identified and selected by the fall. Second, I think it's just came up very briefly in one of the comments earlier. The election for our resident commissioner on the board, again, as part of the new law, we are having an election for two resident commissioners. The first one is underway. I think the voting is starting next week. Have the votes? Voting.
It's in a week or two, right? There's a forum, I think, on the 18th,
So my understanding is that there
21st and 22nd.
21st. Thank you. Thank you.
So
Yes.
my understanding is that there are 4 candidates that have been qualified. There will be the forum for residents to talk with those 4 candidates, and then the election. Commissioner Blackson, you said 21st and 22nd.
Yes, the forum is on the 18th. The voting is on the 21st and 22nd.
Yeah. So if everything goes okay, then we could possibly have a resident commissioner by the June meeting. So keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully we can get that.
Is the form, how can we view the form, or is it in person?
I just asked. I'm just sending Alethea a message of whoever's.
Is Alethea, who's running the form? I was going to say, is anyone, is it Alethea, do you know the answer? Is Allison? Okay, we're gonna, okay.
We'll find out.
We'll find out, yeah.
So hopefully it's posted on the website.
It is. There's information about the voting on our website and about the forum, and certainly we encourage, all residents to attend the forum, to vote,
Carla's meeting invites have been super helpful in making sure that we make it to some of these events. So if that's possible, if she could send something out, that would be helpful. Just so it's on our calendars.
Well, it's also a resident thing though. So, right. So I don't know if we're,
we're not just to support.
I don't know if we're, okay. I was going to say, because I don't know if we're invited or not. That's what, I don't know who else invited to the forum. I just have to double check because it's not so we'll double check.
Okay.
Since it's
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, again, a bit of bad news, which I mentioned earlier, and that Commissioner Jim Dickinson had to resign from the board. So we want to recognize and honor him for his service. He has really been a stalwart, not only here on the board, but in his work throughout the district for over 50 years, I believe. So we do have a resolution that we will present to him. And I'll just briefly summarize. I'm not going to read all of the whereases, because there are a lot of whereases, but I'll just briefly summarize. So whereas Jim Dickinson has been intimately involved in affordable housing, neighborhood revitalization, ending generational poverty and homelessness in Washington, D.C. for over 45 years. And whereas Jim Dickinson recognized the value of need for investing in affordable housing to build neighborhoods and support families and build strength through community and home ownership. And whereas Jim Dickinson founded MANA, a vital organization creating low and moderate income housing for families. And whereas Jim Dickerson was instrumental in the establishment of the Coalition for Nonprofit Housing and Economic Development. And whereas Jim Dickerson accepted the call and was appointed to serve on the DCHA Stabilization and Reform Board, the so-called STAR Board, in 2022, and has served with honor and distinction, serving on the Capital Projects Committee. Now, therefore, it is proclaimed that the DCHA Board of Commissioners, through the adoption of this proclamation, to recognize Jim Dickerson for his dedication to service and the mission of DCHA, and to sincerely thank him for his commitment to DCHA residents. It's adopted by the Board of Commissioners and signed this 13th day of May, 2026. So for the record, we want to establish. Okay, so that's all I have. So anyone else? Commissioner Clay.
So I'll use my commissioner's time just to also go on the record to speak on Commissioner Dickerson and what he has meant to the board, what he's meant to the committees that I've served on with him. Not only did he bring a great deal of experience and knowledge to this board, but he brought something that I think I certainly aspire to, and I think we all could, is a genuine heart for this work. He cared, and it was evidenced in everything that he did on this board. And I think that he set an example for personally me, and I'm just thankful for his service.
Commissioner Murphy?
I could not agree more. I think Commissioner Clay put it eloquently, and I completely agree. I miss him already. I feel like he was sort of like the soul of the board in a way, and it'll be nice to maybe get some reinforcements coming down the road. But I miss him, and he's done so much for our city. And I had the pleasure of going to his church with my son, and just an incredibly moving experience. And just, I'm really gonna miss him.
If I might.
Yeah, Commissioner Silla.
I reiterate everything that's been said about Commissioner Dickerson. He will be missed. It was such a pleasure to serve alongside him. I wanted to use a little bit of my commissioner's time to uplift Commissioner Blackson's block by block, to recognize like its value, similar to how Commissioner Murphy recognized its value earlier, and to flag that supporting the block by block also means supporting food for the resident leaders. It's a full day meeting and engagement. So just wanted to like uplift that concern, and hopefully we can work towards a resolution and making sure that there is some form of budget that supports that kind of engagement, especially until we are able to get out and do our roving meetings. That is really the platform that we have available to interact with residents, resident leaders. So I would like to just uplift that for our consideration.
Okay, anything else?
Thank you, Commissioner Silla. I agree.
Okay.
Let me say one thing, Chair. I've also had the pleasure of working with Jim prior to his role here at DCHA as an outreach specialist and presenting to MANA and the attendees at the MANA events. So I just want to say he was very pleasant always and great to work with.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Wednesday, June the 10th, 2026 at 1 p.m. via Zoom. Information regarding viewing or participating in the meeting can be found at www.dchousing.org, unless we are able to do all the coordination that we need to do to have the meeting at another location by the June meeting. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Is second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So the meeting is adjourned at 3:02 p.m. Thank everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.